Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and today's show is presented by Panda Sups. Panda Sups is owned by a Raider fan, and he's pretty upset about how the Raiders have played the first 2 weeks, so he's going to try to cheer you guys up here a little bit. 50% off. Go to the code that you see below. Use SADPANDA at chatsports.com/stack. That stack has got some BCAs. It's got some greens. It's got a shaker. Overall, the value is about $115 value. We're going to give it to you for about $58 is essentially how it ends up breaking down. So here we go, y'all. 5 things the Las Vegas Raiders need to do before the Tennessee Titans game. And some of it's going to be a little bit out there. I'm going to warn you right now. Like the very first thing that I think that this Raiders organization and team should do, closed door team meeting. Coaches only, team only. You sit down in the room and you talk. You talk about week 1. You talk about week 2. You look each other in the eyes. If people need to vent, you let people vent. You don't let anything leak out to the media. You make sure that when that door closes, you can say anything that you want. And I think it's important that teams do that because I think if you want to grow as a team, you got to grow as a family. And sometimes family, you have to say those type of things. If I'm Josh McDaniels, I would say this. Hey, man, I get it. We're 0-2. We didn't think we were going to be here, but here's the thing. We are here right now. And for 0-2 teams, since the merger, 4 teams have reached the Super Bowl. 3 out of those 4 have ended up winning it. McDaniels should look at all those guys and say, when I was with the New England Patriots back in 2021, we lost our first 2 games. Sure, we might not have a Tom Brady. We might not have some of those pieces. But I look around right now in this room, we got a lot of leaders. We got a lot of really good football players. And it doesn't matter how you start the season. It matters how you finish it. So our season starts today. We got to turn it around. And if that doesn't motivate and fire some people up, then you don't have the right people in that room anyway. So first thing that the Raiders need to do, closed door meeting, be honest with each other. The next thing, you got to believe. And I'm saying this to a lot of Raider fans. It's been an emotional week. Walking into work on Monday sucked. Walking into Tuesday. The Raiders are the way that I get away from reality. The Raiders are the way that I can just, if I got something going on in my life, I watch some Raiders football, I talk to you guys. It's how I get away from the problems I have in my life. When you're 0-2, it sucks. But all I want you guys to do is still believe because they can still turn this thing around. So if you could, if you believe, spam JBB for just believe, baby. Let's go to the next thing. You got to get ready to run the football with Josh Jacobs. To me, Josh has looked good. He's looked like a very motivated running back, and he looked strong at the end of last season. He's continued to look strong this year. I would go back and see everything he did in that first drive, the first half, up against Arizona. And, yeah, Derrick will look good, but he also looked good because the Raiders were able to run the football effectively. 12 carries, 51 yards, 4.3. These aren't just Josh Jacobs' numbers. These are Raiders' overall rushing stats in the first half against Arizona. So, okay, Raiders are up 20-0. Well, then in the second half, when you got a 20-0 lead, you're telling me you run the ball 9 times for 29 yards? I get it. 3.2 yards isn't great, but you know what? You know where I would have taken 3.2 yards per carry? I would have taken that at the 37-yard line when the Raiders are in overtime 23-23 up against the Arizona Cardinals, and 3.2 yards per carry with Josh Jacobs. Already, Daniel Carlson's made a field goal from 55. Run the ball. Be physical. I get it. You spent a lot of money on Renfro, Waller, Adams, and Carr. But if Josh is running that way and he's beating people up, let him beat people up. So if I don't see, if Josh doesn't get 20-plus carries in this game, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm going to be a very mad individual. And if you're like, oh, well, we want to keep Josh healthy, put Zamir White out there. You're going to draft a running back as early as you did. You're going to trade up for a running back as early as you did. Run the football. And, okay, maybe you don't want to run the football as much with Zamir. You want to keep him healthy. Pass the ball to Amir Abdullah. You can also run the ball through the air. Get your backs more involved. That takes a lot of pressure off your offensive line. It takes a lot of pressure off of Derek Carr. So how many carries should the Raiders give Josh Jacobs this upcoming weekend? Minimum 20. I'm not kidding you. Minimum 20 carries for Jacobs. That's what I want to see. And in Jacobs, if he gets 20 carries and his body is a little bit sore, you know what he should do? Go to Panda Sups and take some pre-workout. He should take some BCAAs. He should take some greens to make sure that his body is 100% healthy going forward. If you guys want to make sure that you're staying in shape, and I know a lot of times people are like, dude, how can you drink the way you do and show up to work the next day and be ready to go? It's because I take Panda Sups. So go to chatsports.com/stack. Use code PandaSups for 50% off. Yeah, 50% off. It's a $115 value. We're going to give it to you guys for $58. The BCAAs, flavors, melon ball, strawberry watermelon, pink lemonade, the greens. Take a scoop of this every morning to make sure that your body is staying healthy, and we're going to throw in a shaker. If finding that link, chatsports.com/stack, is too difficult, scan that QR code right now. This deal is only going to last until the Titans game. We've been doing 25, 30% off with Panda. This might be your last chance to get 50% off on Panda Subs products. Let's go to the next thing here. Week 3 to-do list. DC needs to figure out every single way possible. Josh McDaniels needs to figure out every single way possible. The Raiders organization needs to figure out every single way possible that DC can silence the doubters, because I want to see the first half Derrick Carr from that Cardinals game. That first half, Derrick Carr, he had the biggest dick in the room. He had all the confidence in the world. When he was in that huddle, he grabbed every single person's attention. But you know what? In the second half, he looked rattled. He looked scared. Like, I hate saying that, but he did. He looked scared, and the amount of times that I said in that watch party, you can't let your foot off the gas. You can't let your foot off the gas, because when that happens and Carr has the issues that he does, I worry a little bit. So I'm going to steal a quote here from Jamal Williams. He's a running back from the Detroit Lions, and he said this on Hard Knocks, and I love it. I love it, and I hope every Raiders player takes this to heart. If you're going to piss like a puppy, stay on the porch, let the big dogs eat. I want my Raider players to be the big dogs. I want them out in the field. I want them off the porch, and I want you to have that dog mentality, because if you don't, you're going to go up against a very physical Titans team and Mike Vrabel. I get it, they're 0-2. But Mike Vrabel, he's a dog, and he is going to be physical in this game, and if you're not ready for that physicality, you really risk going down 0-3. That can't happen. Let's go to the next thing. I want McDaniels. I want Mick Lombardi. I want Bo Hardigree, Patrick Graham, all the Raiders coaches to look up the word adjustments. Because what did I see? I didn't see any adjustments. I didn't see Josh McDaniels make any adjustments from the first to the second half. They ran the exact same offense despite being up 20 points. To me, that doesn't make any sense, man. Like, I get it. The offense was able to pass the football effectively in the first half. The Cardinals, their defense, Vance Joseph, they made an adjustment. They made it more difficult for Derrick to try to target Devontae Adams. They made it more difficult for the Raiders to pass the ball. And you don't run the football when you're up 20 points. You need to make that adjustment. For Patrick Graham, you didn't make an adjustment in the second half. He deserves some blame. I get it. The offense was winded because the defense was winded because the offense couldn't move the football. But if you're going to run this bend but don't break defense, okay. Here's the thing, though. You need to have the right depth. You didn't have Denzel Perryman. You didn't have Bilal Nichols. You didn't have Trevon Merrick. You didn't have somebody like Anthony Averett to just give you that extra depth. So if you're out there for these 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 play-plus drives, guess what? Your defense is going to get tired, and that's what you saw. That's why Kyler Murray was able to scramble around the entire time, because the defense got tired and Patrick Graham was okay giving up 4 or 5 yards every single play. The defense got tired. Patrick Graham didn't make adjustments, so look up the word adjustments and realize what you got to do to change it. So who's more to blame for the Week 2 loss up against Arizona? Is it the offense or is it the defense? I want to know down in the comments section right now. For me personally, I'm going to put more blame on the offense. If you were to ask me legitimately, I would say 80% of it was on the offensive fault, 20% was on defense. I am curious to see what you guys have to say, though, about this topic. Now, for those of you that don't know, I am doing a Week 3 Pick'em Challenge over on Locals, and I've been having a lot of fun doing these things. And for those of you that don't know exactly what that is, you essentially pick the winners. The tiebreaker comes down to the Raiders game. Winner is going to get this Raiders hat this week, so if you want to enter, all you got to do is go to chatsports.com/week3, which you guys can find available in the comments section. It's also going to be in the description. On top of that, On top of that, you can also, don't worry about it. On top of that, you can also get 2 exclusive videos a week. I go live an extra day as well. Like this past week, I answered fantasy football questions, talked about the Raiders game before the Cardinals. So if you want to enter, you want to compete against me and other Raider fans, it's chatsports.com/week3. Let's go to the next thing here. Get another run stopper. I'm hoping Denzel Perryman can play in this game. He's been battling an ankle injury, but you're going up against the most physical running back in the league, okay? It's Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, yes, 34 carries, 107 yards, 3.1 yards per carry. He hasn't been all that great, but it's not really him. Their offensive line sucks, and teams are just stacking the box, making Ryan Tannehill, Robert Woods, Traylon Burks, all these other players beat them, and they haven't been able to do so. So the fact that Perriman's questionable, that makes me a little bit nervous. The fact that Bilal Nichols, he's questionable. He left the game up against Arizona. All right, so you're down your best linebacking run stopper. You're down probably your top defensive tackle this season. Cool. So who are some linebacking free agents that you could go out and sign? Jamie Collins, though the time that I'm filming this, he is visiting with the New England Patriots. Alec Ogletree, Reggie Ragland, those are 2 guys that you've brought in for a visit. Blake Martinez, he's actually on a visit right now on Tuesday as well. Donta Hightower, he's somebody that knows the defense. He's somebody that can be physical. Well, what about defensive tackles? Sheldon Richardson, he's a good run stopper. And Ndamukong Suh, he's a good run stopper. Malcolm Brown, Danny Shelton. If you're worried about your run physicality and you're worried about your depth, then address it in free agency. Here's the thing, though. I do get nervous because the Raiders did work out 2 players on Tuesday. First, Nate Whelan. Nate Whelan has never played in the NFL in terms of actual snaps. He's been on some practice squads. He was with the New England Patriots, which is probably why they brought him in. Another person, Zakoby McClain. How many people before today heard of those 2 people? Not many. I'm not going to sit up here and say that, oh, those are good signings, or not signings, but 2 good players to work out. If the Raiders bring those 2 guys in, they're practice squad guys. That's it. This is a must-win game. You got to treat Week 3, 0-2, like a playoff game. I usually say every week is a playoff game. This one's definitely a playoff game. You cannot lose this game. Upgrade your defense. Upgrade your run stoppers because you're going up against Derrick Henry. Now, for those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, I posted this picture. I'm trying to impress a brand new sponsor. They're called Ventura Collective. They got a bunch of awesome watches, jewelry, wallets, sunglasses, all that good stuff. If you guys could do me a solid, go to that Instagram picture and at them, like say, love the Raiders Report, sick watch, at Ventura Collective. I am trying to impress them, and by impressing them, gives me more abilities to give you guys more shows, more studio time, keep the lights on around here. It would mean a lot to me if you could take 30 seconds out of your day to do that. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, let's go one more time back over my Week 3 to-do list here. Closed-door team meeting. Sit down as men, sit down as a family, and talk about everything that needs to talk about. You can't get offended because sometimes in these meetings, people are going to say what they want. That has to be okay. You got to get ready to run the football. I want to see a lot of Josh Jacobs. I want to see a lot of physicality. DC, silence the doubters. Whatever that takes, man. I don't care what it takes. Silence them. Look up the word adjustment. So McDaniels, Patrick Graham, Bo Hardigree, Mick Lombardi, if you need to make adjustments, make them. And get another run stopper. Now, that's all the time I got for you guys today here on the Raider Sports. So please hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and if anything crazy happens around this team, I promise you, we will get you a video as soon as humanly possible. Also, set a reminder that Jeremy Jugs and I, we're going to be live for Thursday Night Football, Steelers, Browns. Hopefully we can learn a lot from those games, and hopefully we can see that the Raiders are better than both of those teams.